One clue came from an unlikely source. Not detectives, not FBI profilers. A neighbor. And his memory of what he saw that night became one of the breaks that turned suspicion toward a man named Brian Trollberger. This is the story of how a neighbor's watchful eyes helped uncover one of the most haunting cases in recent memory. One of the first people to speak publicly wasn't a detective. It was a neighbor. Jeremy Reagan, a law student who lived nearby, gave interviews to media outlets in the days after the murders. He described the area as usually quiet and said he noticed something unusual that weekend. A white car circling the block again and again. At first, it didn't seem significant, but after the killings, he realized it stood out. Reagan also recalled seeing lights in the house go on and off at odd hours, and he remembered thinking it was strange, but not enough to call police at the time. Investigators didn't ignore it. In late November, police announced they were searching for a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra seen near the victim's home around the time of the murders. They said the driver might have critical information. That vehicle description, first spotted by neighbors and surveillance cameras, became the biggest lead in the case. It gave investigators something to chase, and weeks later, it led them straight to a graduate student at Washington State University, just 10 miles away. Brian Christopher Trollberger, 28 years old, a PhD student in criminology with a focus on criminal behavior and forensics. He drove a white Hyundai Elantra, and his phone records placed him near King Road multiple times in the months before the murders, as if he had been surveilling the house. On the night of the killings, his phone was suspiciously turned off during the time of the murders, then turned back on later, as if he was trying to hide his movements. Inside the victim's house, police had collected a critical piece of evidence: a knife sheath left on Madison Mogen's bed. On it, a single trace of DNA. Investigators ran it through genealogy databases and got a familial match. The DNA pointed back to the Trollberger family. With the Elantra, the phone records, and the DNA, investigators began to build their case. But the neighbor's statement wasn't just background noise. It helped confirm that the white Elantra was in the area that night, circling suspiciously.
Like walking by a house and seeing cops with like a drug bust, but that's the closest I've ever been to a crime scene. So especially one of this magnitude where I could throw a baseball from my front door to the house, it's just odd. No, I went to bed early that night, and then I woke up to a bunch of normal, and then a couple hours later, we got a message, and there was a bunch of police here, and then that was the end of normalcy for the past week or so here.
Smile at points that I shouldn't. I might make weird hand movements when I shouldn't, stuff like that. And so people have sort of keyed into that and said, oh, he's a weirdo, he must be this killer. And so it's just stuff like that. And so, plus I think it's the amount of interviews I've done, because I have a problem saying no. Because if it's not going to hurt me physically or financially, I might as well help someone. I was home, I was asleep. I went to bed around 11:30-ish that night. And so I didn't see or hear anything.